Hello and welcome. So we've reached Birmingham. I'm doing this from indoors because we've just reached. So the Women's World Cup action will be hotting up here in Birmingham. The moment I landed at Birmingham New Street, I could see branding all over. Trisha joins me later today, and Snehashish will also be joining us some point this evening or maximum tomorrow morning, depending on his flight from Dubai, because there was a bit of an issue with the flight. So we've all reached Birmingham, so our coverage for the Women's World Cup will begin in earnest. Having said that, this is not a video on the Women's World Cup. This is a video on Vaibhav Sooryavanshi. The man who is coming to this part of the world very soon, in a couple of weeks, will be in Ireland and will then be in England. Vaibhav Sooryavanshi. Two parts to this video. One, the Vaibhav Sooryavanshi Syndrome, if I may call it, and I had a very interesting conversation with Rajkumar Sharma, better known as Virat Kohli's coach. Rajkumar Sharma, in that interview to me, made a very significant point. He said, some days back, a father called him and said, "Mera bachcha 4 saal ka hai aur aap usko coaching karaiye." So Rajkumar ji told him that it's way too early and come back in about 2 to 3 years from now, because until and unless your son is 6 or 7, I cannot take him under my wings and start coaching. It's far too early. The man in question said, but agar aap jaldi shuru nahi karte hain, to wo Vaibhav Sooryavanshi kaise banega? Now Rajkumar ji was taken aback for a second and he said to me, dekhiye Boria ji, this is where the thing is in the country. Everybody now wants their son or daughter to be a Vaibhav Sooryavanshi or a Shafali Verma. Now the point is, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Some days back, I got 3 messages. The day Vaibhav Sooryavanshi got that 97, I got 3 messages from people who were actually asking, literally asking, that if Vaibhav Sooryavansh's mother could throw 600 balls at him at 2 o'clock at night, should they do the same with their son? And I was absolutely shocked, shell-shocked, thinking, what on earth is this being said? If Vaibhav Sooryavanshi is an extraordinary talent, he is an aberration. His mother could have thrown 600 balls at him and he could have become a generational superstar. But to think that anyone and everyone, a child of the age of 10 or 11, you will throw 600 balls at that child, the child will wake up at 2 a.m. in the morning and some years later will become a Vaibhav Sooryavanshi. You're clearly living in a fool's paradise. It's not going to happen. And you know what my worry is? My worry is a lot of parents will start putting pressure on their children to become the next Vaibhav Sooryavanshi. In fact, I hear this way too often. 15 साल में आप क्या करते थे? यार मैं क्या करता था? मैं पढ़ता था, या मेरे बच्ची क्या करेगी? वो पढ़ेगी, क्लास 10 में अपना ICSE एग्जाम देगी, क्या फर्क पड़ता है? The point is, somebody else will do something else. Not everybody at the age of 15 will go and play for India. That's why this guy is a generational talent and he's an aberration. He is not the norm. And we have to accept it that Vaibhav Sooryavanshi is not the norm. He cannot be the norm. And because of the Vaibhav Sooryavanshi syndrome, now back home, I see a lot of parents putting enormous amount of pressure on their children. And trust me, this can only and only go south, because this is not a healthy thing to happen. Everyone thinks, if you put pressure, if you start throwing 600 balls, if you wake up at 2 a.m. and you start doing everything that Vaibhav's parents have done, you will produce the next Vaibhav Sooryavanshi, who will go and take the IPL by storm, will become India's next generational great, and will make his debut at the age of 15. Sorry, not happening. Absolutely not happening. And that's something we have to be really, really cautious about. Point number 2. I think Vaibhav Sooryavanshi will have to be very careful about how to deal with success. Not failure, but success. Because success is a heady cocktail. Way too soon, things are happening with Vaibhav Sooryavanshi way too fast and way too soon. The whole world is at his feet. In England, every newspaper carried a piece when Vaibhav Sooryavanshi was picked. Sky Sports had breaking news with Vaibhav Sooryavanshi. On British television, there was a show done by Michael Atherton with multiple other experts about the inclusion of Vaibhav Sooryavanshi and what it can do to the Indian tour of the UK. So clearly, he is the new poster boy. He is the star. He is the one people will follow. He is the one newspapers will be after. Radio channels will be after. Television and digital will be after. So he is the new hero. And that's my problem. The issue is Vaibhav Sooryavanshi will have to be extremely careful how to deal with success. And I'm glad his father has said this, that Vaibhav will have to stay humble and will have to stay rooted. Because these are the two things are an absolute must. I remember I had done a critical video of Vaibhav Sooryavanshi last year when after getting out against Pakistan, he made certain gestures which were unbecoming. They were not necessary. And I said Vaibhav has to improve his temperament. I'm delighted that I see a way more mature Vaibhav Sooryavanshi now. I absolutely think he has improved on his temperament and he's a much better individual and a much better player now. Having said that, with success, a lot of attractions will come his way. Autographs and photographs and selfies and endorsements and multiple other things. Vaibhav Sooryavanshi will have to learn the art of dealing with success. Let me give you the example of Abhinav Bindra. Abhinav Bindra won the Olympic gold medal at the age of 26. Now, if you go and ask Abhinav, he will tell you that from the age of 10, 11 to the age of 26, all he wanted was to win that Olympic gold. And then at the age of 26, he had that Olympic gold medal in his pocket. And he thought, now what? At 26, my life has come to an end because the Holy Grail is with me. The pinnacle has been achieved. Everything that I wanted to aspire to, I have been able to conquer. Now with Vaibhav, to make the Indian team, the monstrosity of the achievement, the humongous nature of the achievement, to make the Indian team at 15, the youngest ever player, that can be a heady cocktail. So my point is, Vaibhav will have to learn the art of dealing with success. And I'm delighted that his parents are traveling with him to Ireland and England. And I'm delighted that his father has said these two things, that he has to stay humble, he has to stay rooted. Because success is a very difficult bedfellow to deal with. Very, very difficult. It's like a thorn. And Vaibhav, everything is happening way too fast. He will have to learn to deal with success. What is the other best thing about Vaibhav is, he will have this protective cocoon. His teammates, his colleagues, his coach, his parents, they will serve as the protective cocoon to Vaibhav Sooryavanshi as he embarks on this tour of the Ireland and of course the United Kingdom. Absolute generational talent, but very, very critical few months and years coming up in front of the young man, which will define him as a player and as a character. How he deals with success, because it's not about failure. Failure he's not even seen, but how he deals with success will define Vaibhav Sooryavanshi going forward. Thank you very much for watching our Women's World Cup coverage in earnest from Birmingham starting tomorrow. So keep following Revsportz for more.